Hello, hello, y'all. I just spent the last couple minutes looking for my microphone, and it was right beside me. It was literally right beside me the whole time. Um, so, welcome to this month's Lunch and Learn. You may be catching this live, you may be catching this as a replay, or even catching it on the podcast. By the way, if you are catching it on the podcast, make sure that you go visit gretchengegg.com/podcast, see what we have going on there, download some freebies. Those free things are going to put you right on my email list. So whether you want a thought changer printable or a planner, you will get on my email list and you will know when the Lunch and Learns are so that you can join us live. So there are a couple of you here. Feel free to keep your camera on or off, eat your lunch. You can also drop questions in the chat as we go, or just hop on live and raise your hand either the Zoom way or the real life way. So that's to this week. We are talking about something that people tend to kind of shy away from when it comes to the holiday season, and that is starting something new. People really are like, oh, no. Even entrepreneurs, even people in my industry, they won't talk about anything new until the actual new year hits. They think, I can't talk about, how to start a fitness program because it's November and people are busy. And here's what I say to that. When people say they can't talk about making a change is what are you waiting for? What is the right time to make a change? And I challenge that aspect today to say there is no right time. It's just your time. And we're going to explore today how we can make this time that seemingly the time of not starting anything new or kind of stepping back, the time when we could do something new. We're talking today about 5 steps to getting fit before 2023. And if you're here live, I'm going to share some slides with you. I find it really helpful for those of you who are maybe on the go and want to screenshot some of this stuff, screen grab. And of course, you can always just absolutely take notes. Shall we call it old school? I don't know. I still love note taking. But we're talking about the 5 steps to getting fit before 2023. And this is with no gym membership. So I'm not going to tell you to go out and join your local gym. I will have some recommendations on programming. But before we get into all of that, if you've never caught me live before, I need to let you know who I am. So my name is Gretchen Gegg. Where's my little clicker? There we go. I'm a health and life coach for women. I do specialize in body freedom, meaning we're all kind of living on this spectrum of some days we feel cruddy about our bodies, some days we feel great about our bodies, and we're letting that dictate how we plug into both our nutrition and our fitness. And in reality, we should be free from that. We should have goals and dreams that are way bigger than how our pants feel every day. And that's what dictates how we move, how we eat, all of our different goals that we set for ourselves. I do a fitness studio where you get on-demand fitness. You also get live every single week. We do a live workout together, or most weeks, I should say. You could do one-on-one coaching or training with me. Also, if you are in the fitness industry or the life coaching industry or anything like that, and you're wanting to work with women in the way that I work with women, right? Goal first, and then we look at what health changes we can make there. I do have a specialist certification that gives you your own health and fitness virtual program that you can take and market and sell and use with them that's already done for you. And then finally, I work with people year round. This is my Lifer program where you get both one-on-one and group coaching, as well as fun things like a beach retreat every year. It's just a lot of fun. So that's who I am. That's what I do. You can also plug into my podcast. Some of you may be listening to me here right now. It's called the Life Coach Lifeline, and you can get it on all major podcast platforms. In fact, if you have one that you love and you can't find it, please let me know, because I would love to bring it to your favorite podcast platform. I want to start us off today with a little quote that I love. And, pretty sure he was talking about a book at this point. It's by C.S. Lewis. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start from where you are and change the ending. And I think that we can take this to mean, twofold. One is our life, obviously. We can change the way that our life has been run up to this, or not up to this point, run from this point on. We can change that, but we can also take it to just look at our year, right? So we can't go back and change any bad decisions that we made throughout the year, but we can start where we are right now and end up ahead of the game instead of just putting it behind us and saying, you know what, I'll start again at the beginning of next year. So I challenge you right now to just shift your mindset from we're wrapping up the year to I still have about 2 months left, maybe not quite a month and a half left. And a lot can happen in a month and a half. You can feel free to share in the chat, like what has happened to you before in a month and a half that just drastically altered the course of your life. We don't need to do this every year where we spend the last 2 months of the year going, okay, and now we're just celebrating the end. We can make the beginning of the next phase something even more amazing. The steps that we're going to talk about today, I'll just give them to you up front and then we'll flesh each one out. Step 1 is setting yourself up for success. These are 5 very simple steps. Number 2 is to know your stuff. 3 is to dedicate your space. 4 is to find your anchor. And 5 is get to know your pain. That's the kind of funky one that I want you to stick around for, because you're actually going to get pretty excited when I spell it out for you what I mean in that. Step 1, setting yourself up for success. Am I clicking there too? Fabulous. What does that mean? So there's 2 things that setting yourself up for success can look like. The first one is just finding your rhythm. When it comes to working out or moving your body or whatever fitness program that you're wanting to start, first find your rhythm. What I've seen a lot is that instead of looking at our day, looking at when we naturally gravitate toward movement, people will sit down with their planner and go, well, I have a slot at 5:30 a.m. and we can work out then. And inevitably 5:30 rolls around and you're like, I've never gotten up before and worked out at 5:30. I don't even know what this looks or feels like. I can't do this. But every day at about 3 o'clock, we hit this second wind. And that might be a better time for us to put in some kind of fitness regimen, is at the 3 o'clock time. So find your rhythm, look at what naturally works, and maybe you spend this rest of this week just feeling out what it feels like to start moving in the rhythm of, I want to move my body every day. When would that naturally occur? Pick something that's not too challenging, maybe a walk around the block. And what time do I naturally want to work out? Or something on demand works really well, because then you don't have to worry about making it at a certain time. You can just do it whenever you feel like it. Does anybody know when their natural workout rhythm is? I personally think I have 2. I think I have one that's at 5 a.m. And quite honestly, this is my workout of like pretty difficult and pretty mindless. So like I like to go to group exercise classes then. And I really do think that this is a learned behavior, because I was a swimmer in high school and our practices always started at 5:30 and they were difficult. And I always had them laid out for me, right? Like I didn't have to think. My coach was there telling me like, okay, you're going to do 8 100s on blah, 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 go. And it was just so rote. So I still find that at 5 in the morning or 5:30 or early morning, right? Early AM, I'll do these hard things. But then I have this like other part of me that enjoys like a longer walk or a hike. And that's usually like a mid-morning type of workout. So I'm an early bird. We have people in the chat. Jackie likes sometimes mid-afternoon. And then Ellen says early morning and jumpstart her day. Yeah, a lot of people like that aspect of working out. In fact, if you have been listening to the podcast, I think we talked about on the podcast, I've kind of forgotten. I've had so many interactions with groups this month. Anyway, it doesn't matter where you heard it, you'll hear it again. Getting out in the sun in the morning actually helps you sleep better at night, getting that real sun in our eyes. So that's fun. And then there's also the second aspect of setting yourself up for success, which is finding a program or a protocol that doesn't leave you coming up with a workout. Now, even if you love coming up with your own workout, friends, I am a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor. I taught at the collegiate level, both fitness and, both the recreation and for the Department of Health and Kinesiology. I've taught at corporate gyms. I've taught at boutique fitness places. I've taught travel. I've taught everywhere, y'all, even at resorts in Mexico, which is fun, by the way. If you're a group fitness instructor, hit me up, email me. I've got a really cool thing. No kickback, just a really cool thing that you can do. But I know how to come up with a workout, but I don't always want to do that. And on those days when I don't want to come up with a workout, it's really nice to have these, honestly, for me, it's on demand, these programs that I can go to and just pick from. Like, okay, I want to do something like this today. Perfect. I don't want to come up with it. So it's really nice to have that in my back pocket. And typically on-demand fitness is not very expensive. In fact, mine is on major sale this month. So make sure you stick around till the end and I'll tell you about that. But find something that you have just in case you can't really do the longer, or you can't really come up with the thing, or you need something really quick and easy and on the go. So those are two ways that you can set yourself up for success. The second thing is to know your stuff. And if you're here with me live, you see that I've like bolded the word your. So it's know your stuff. Basically know what you have to know. So there's these two components to any fitness program. One is the macro component. One is the micro component. Now the macro component says, what do we have to do in general to prevent disease, right? Like what is this kind of minimum level that we would count ourselves as working out for our health? What is that minimum level? And it's actually the 150-minute rule. Work out 150 minutes a week, period. Like that's really all it says. Work out for 150 minutes a week. And for most people, I say it's about 30 minutes most days of the week. And if you aim for 5 at 30 minutes, perfect. But I usually say, 6 days of the week, about 30 minutes. And then if you don't quite get there one day, you'll make up for it on that day 6. But about 30 minutes a day, 150 minutes a week of fitness. If we want to get really nitpicky, we can. It's like moderate level. Vigorous would count double minute. I don't do all that jazz. I'm just like 150 minutes of working out counts. 150 minutes to where you can talk when you work out, but you can't sing. Does that make sense? It's not just like floating in a sauna. Not a sauna. What are those things? The float tanks. Have y'all ever done that, by the way? This is a total tangent, but they are so cool. I did a float tank in Roanoke with my sister where it's like really, 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 really salty water and you just float. It was crazy. Oh, you've never done it. I would highly recommend trying that out, but that's not a workout. It's actually moving your body. But then there's this micro part to fitness too, where there's a lot of other things that if we actually want to increase, not just prevent disease, right? Not just do good for our heart, but if we really want to have quality of life, maybe some big, massive health changes, maybe even what they call it, aesthetic changes, right? Like to our bodies, then there's also these other things that we have to consider. Every week, we also need to have a chunk of cardiovascular exercise, a chunk of muscular conditioning, a chunk of flexibility. And then we have to also incorporate they're called skill-related fitness components of balance, agility, and coordination. And that helps us have a better quality of life as we get older, as we just move through our life. I think, so you guys know my kids are pretty young and weird things have happened to my body, not just because of pregnancy, that's its own beast, but because I'm constantly doing things with something so short. Like I'm stooping and bending and crawling around. And so certain things on my body move differently. In some places I'm more flexible. In some places I'm tighter. I tend to round a lot more. And so I have to counter that with my daily life. I know some of you might be in that same boat or might have something similar. My mom, for example, she works with people who care for their loved ones who are old and are maybe they're older or maybe they just have a terminal illness, which is kind of another category, but they're typically people who require a lot of moving their body, but they're older individuals. So that's a whole different ballgame. So maybe what you're doing in your life right now has really challenged your body in a new way, and you need to plug into this. Now, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, and I'm thinking too, I could spend the whole rest of our time together today just talking about these micro fitness components, but I'm not going to. I'm going to tell you to know your stuff because here's the deal. Your stuff is only the macro fitness. If you are not personal training someone or creating a group fitness program, you're just looking to get yourself fitter, all you need to know is the macro fitness rule. Now, you can stick with that in whatever means you want, 150 minutes a week. If you want the other components, if you're like, I could really use a program that gives me more flexibility because of XYZ, or that helps me maintain my balance, my agility, my coordination, because, I've been doing the same thing for 30 years and I haven't challenged it, then you might want to incorporate the micro fitness components, but this is when you rely on someone else to do it. This is when that idea of, remember when we talked about having the program, our protocol? This is when that comes in handy. Because if you have a program or a protocol designed by someone who has micro fitness in mind, you're going to have a really well-versed program. For example, I have programs in my Body Freedom Fitness Studio. The difference between like a class, you can take any class you want and do it once. But if you follow a program, it's usually like 10 to 12 workouts that are designed to be done. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. That was loud. They're designed to be done in a row, right? So having access to that, you don't have to think about the micro fitness. I've already incorporated all of that into the program. You just have to do the next workout or do the next thing. So you don't really have to think about the micro fitness. You just have to hit the macro fitness rule and the rest will be thrown in for you. So know what you need to know, understand how much you need to be working out per week. And then if you're looking to increase the quality of either your life or your fitness, or you're just wanting to get more benefits, then consider finding a program that has some of these micro fitness components. So some of you may already have it, but that is something to consider. Apologies. So step number 1 was setting yourself up for success. Step number 2 was knowing your stuff. We are on step number 3, which is dedicate your space. And this is way more important than I've even said in the past. Just looking at success rates within my clients of the ones who stick with their program or are consistently working out like a year later, and the ones who still aren't, is they do not have a specific space dedicated. Even if, like, I know Ellen says she jump starts her day with a walk. I guarantee you know where your walking shoes are and you know what you're going to wear on that walk. Am I right? Like, you've got some kind of something set up to make sure that you are ready to go for that walk. If you are planning on working out at home, and if you're here live, I've put up a picture of my dedicated workout space. It's in my garage. And honestly, on the Zoom, when I do my live workouts, it can look like it takes up a lot of room, but it really doesn't. We can even put a car in the garage with this because it's all backed up against the wall. I have my stationary bike, this like locker thing right here. Actually, here's like a little behind the scenes. I have a big locker thing in my workout studio. So when you see me live, it's in there. And one would assume that it's filled with all kinds of fun fitness equipment. It's actually very much shared space. I have, if you can see on the picture, there's this one tiny little locker up top. That's the only thing that has anything group fitness in it at all. The rest is like stuff for the yard, for the pool, like all kinds of different things in it they're just tiny things that we need to keep organized. Luckily, you can't see the little labels on the lockers, but have a place where you keep all your stuff. That way, when you get ready to go, it's all there. It's going to make you do the thing and keep you from having all these barriers in your way. So we do have some people in the chat. My workout space is our living room. That's where I have the most space. Absolutely. And actually, pretty much up until this house, that's where I worked out, was even in this house, but then filming live, I had to change some things. But the living room was always a really good workout space because it did have the most room. And I always had like a little corner, almost like how people will set up a little thing with their kids' toys. I had that with all my workout stuff in it in the living room, but I knew where it was. I wasn't running around the house trying to find my yoga mat and my agility ladder. Y'all, I just literally acted like I've actually worked out with the agility ladder in my living room, and I definitely haven't. Ellen says, I change where I walk, but I set up everything I need for the walk. Yeah, absolutely. The night before. And that's a great strategy. That might fall into dedicating your space. If you go outside in the morning, you have it all set there. My sneakers, rain gear, all in designated spots. Indoor workouts have weights and other equipment in specific spots. Absolutely. And I do know Ellen has been consistently working out for a while now. She's won like her little medals that you do. Ellen gets medals for walking a certain amount of miles every year. It's such a cool thing. It's like her own personal, not just her. This is a big thing. A lot of people do it, but it's her personal goal every year. And it's not just a little bit. I can't remember exactly what it is, but wasn't it like 2,023 miles in 2023? Like, wouldn't that be an example? You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, Ellen, but it's obviously, bottom line is this is a very effective way to make sure that you're doing your thing. And you're going to that. And I will, 6 years now straight. Woohoo! Go Ellen. That's so exciting. I will say I like having my little space, if you have the luxury, away, even if it is walking outside, because it does change things up a little bit, but it's not always possible, and that's okay too. So that's what we mean by dedicate your space. Have your stuff in a centralized location. I will even, it's been a while since I've done like, when I taught at the gym and Texas A&M like together, I would have like 5 days. I would lay out all of my workout outfits in a row on the top of my dresser, so I wouldn't even have to think day to day, kind of like Ellen was saying. And also when I film, this is another thing that works here. When I film like a series of 10 workouts, mainly it's so I know what outfit I'm wearing every time and I'm not repeating, but I lay out all 10 outfits. It makes it so much easier to get going even on a business end of things. So mine would be for filming. It's just like having a space for your office, so you don't have to always pull out a laptop and find someplace to sit down. You get the stuff done. So we could take this on a big scale, but it's very effective. And those of you that have been with me on this planner challenge for, like, we're on day 17 now, you probably have noticed that the days that you have it ready to go and you know what you're going to do are the days that you're actually moving your body. So if you're struggling with getting that check mark in there, consider dedicating your space or figuring out the night before what you're going to wear and where you're going to work out. So step 1 was set yourself up for success. Step 2 was to know your stuff. Step 3 was to dedicate your space. And now these two are like the next level. So you could probably, to be honest, like figure out 1, 2, and 3 by looking at a bunch of Google articles. But steps 4 and 5 are the crux of really getting it done and having that fitness in place before next year. Like starting right now, we're live today on the 17th of November. Absolutely, Ellen, you'll get the replay. Thanks for being here. So what do I mean by find your anchor? What I mean is get a solid support system. So some of you may be familiar with this. We talk about this a lot in the Body Freedom Specialist certification, and how some of the things that we're doing in society now that we think are making it easier for people to get fit, it's actually making it harder. So you want to find an anchor in a really solid support system. And to know what an anchor is, we have to know what an anchor is not. So there's this idea of an imposter, a support system imposter. And that would be like an accountability partner. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've been told my whole life accountability partners were good. Accountability partners are fine if you just need like a ride to the gym and you got to back up. But what happens with accountability partners is we usually pick someone who's on our same level, right? Like, I haven't been working out and neither has my friend. Hey, let's make a pact. Let's both, oh gosh, should I even tell you what my pact with my friend is lately? And I'm so glad I have an anchor because, you know, she's actually my anchor and I guess it would be accountability partner, but she's way ahead of me. We've decided to run the Princess 10K for her 40th birthday in Disney, which will be so fun in February. Everything maybe except the run itself. So I've been having to like use her as my anchor to like get to the place because she's way ahead of me running wise and I'm just now starting. However, I tell you right now, if I had someone who also didn't really or hasn't really run in a while, like myself, to be my accountability partner, we would have said right away, oh, we don't need to run that Princess 10K. We'll just go to Disney. Because I would not be running if it wasn't for her. So I'm kind of giving away what an anchor is too. But do you understand the difference? If I had someone who was my accountability partner, we probably would have both just petered out and been like, nah, let's just go to Disney. 10K isn't it? But an accountability partner, they're going to be the first person to encourage you in your quitting or encourage you to not stick to the path because they are going through the same pain points as you are at the same time. They're not bad to have. They're just not a legitimate support system, right? The same thing goes with clubs and groups. I think of like Facebook groups, and I have Facebook groups, but I still don't think they're the best support system because usually it's just people talking, right? They're not actually motivating each other. They're just talking about the things, even maybe to the point of like complaining and creating complaints and creating excuses together because they're not there. Like everyone's in the same place. That's what I'm trying to get across. As imposter, it's not that they don't have a good intention. It's just that they're all in the same place. So it's not a solid support system if you just got a bunch of people milling about. Think about walking into a gym and you're like, there's a row of treadmills and you're going to get on. You never think to yourself, or at least I don't, and this could not resonate with you, but it's resonating with me and probably someone else out there. You don't think, oh, okay, I'm going to get on this treadmill because it's right next to this person that looks like they will really encourage me. No, we get on the treadmill because it's there and it's part of where we go to do our thing. But we don't necessarily get encouraged or discouraged. We're just there doing our thing. And that's the same with like an accountability partner or clubs or groups. They might not be discouraging. They might not be bad for us, but they might not be encouraging either because it's just where we go because there's like-minded people there. The other thing is with finding our anchor is that instead of being a support system, it may look like a support system, but actually be a barrier to a support system. So this is things like social media, where it seems at first like it's going to be oh yeah, we can put this and find support here. But inevitably, we're going to run into like, again, the complainers, the reason why not. We're going to maybe snag our algorithm to start showing before and afters, which is hard for me. I think sometimes they're useful, but it depends on what we're showing and why we're showing it and what we're linking as far as action to that. But all of a sudden, we start posting about our journey and we start seeing things that actually make us feel worse. Also, anything that has like automated support and no opportunity to do anything with live reciprocation. Yeah, so there's no opportunity to actually, like right now, if you were here live and you wrote something in the chat, I would see it. And I would talk directly to you and we would get information from each other. But for those of you maybe that are listening to the podcast and the replay, you guys don't have that benefit. So even though, I mean, this may be motivating, it might not be motivating, but this cannot be the only thing that you do to stay supported in your fitness journey because you don't really have that live opportunity. So in this case, it was a choice. This is not a program. This is just a one-off. This is a podcast. But I want to make sure that you have that actual live opportunity to stay supported. And this is when an anchor comes in place. So an anchor is an actual person living where you want to live. So this is a person that is doing what you want to be doing. And that is so important. So before you pick someone to plug into, and this is really in any arena, but before you pick something to plug into in your fitness world, especially, make sure that this person is living where you want to live. I don't mean Malibu. That would be great, huh? I just mean like in their life, like they have the success that you're seeing. And you can even ask them questions around it. I highly encourage that because there's a lot of people acting like they have a lot of success in places that they don't. And that's just true. So ask them about their successes. Look at their life and how they're living their life. Is it something, do they have the thing that you want to have? being very realistic and not, I will say this and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, but not just choosing on aesthetics. What I mean by that is like the same thing with the before and afters. People will do themselves a disservice and pick people who they want to look like. And they never ask them any questions. And then they get into a place where they realize that is impractical. Either that person has said they're eating really healthy and they're very body positive, and they come to find out like they're very restrictive and potential eating disorders, right? Like all this stuff is going on and they don't want that, or else they do fall down that road and then other things happen. My phone is going crazy, y'all. Something weird just happened. Anyway, sorry. It's like I have my watch on buzzing. So we want to make sure that we're asking looking past what is shown to us and digging in to see if this is really a person that we want. And then look at opportunities for live connection with them. So I used to always preach this idea that your anchor person needs to be someone that you could like sit down to lunch with every week. And y'all, then, you know what showed me I was so wrong? COVID. It showed me I was so wrong because no one was interacting and I still had clients that were doing well. And some of them, like they just told me, in fact, like, wow, I'm really glad that I have you to plug into live because I don't have that opportunity that I used to have with even saying like my anchor person. And so it made me realize, oh my gosh, your anchor person really could be anyone that gives you an opportunity to connect with them live. So, you know, that has broadened my idea of what could really work. It's like this unofficial research project that I have going on after years of having my Body Freedom Fitness and my group coaching, and now looking at what happened during COVID. It's been very interesting, but it's also let me come out with some really solid real things that work for you. And one of those is having that anchor person, the opportunity for live, real connection. Oh man, if you have my slides, you notice I spelled something wrong, but that's just fun. It helps me know if you're really paying attention. Okay, let's review our steps because we're getting to step 5. Step 1 is set yourself up for success. Step 2 is to know your stuff. Step 3 is to dedicate your space. Step 4 was to find your anchor. And then step 5, get to know your pain. So the secret actually of all of this lies in your pain points. And if you're familiar with marketing, we teach pain points a lot in marketing, or people teach it to us. And bottom line is know what is like keeping people up at night, or know what is the really challenging thing for them to get past, what makes it hard. So get to know your own pain point. This will also make you less like easily suckered into the programs that you don't stick with. So there's 3 ways that we get to know our pain point. Number 1 is to understand the constant. We are always avoiding pain. No matter what your reason is for doing this, like this whole workout program, we are avoiding pain. Oh, Jackie, that's sweet. Jackie said you're definitely one of my anchors. I love it. That's why you're here live. You're always here live. I will say that. Like, shout out to Jackie. She makes these live. She makes it a priority. This might be, I'm just going to use this as an example. We're always avoiding pain. So some people may have had time to come to this, but they didn't come live. They're going to watch the replay. And I would ask yourself, like, why? Not what is the thing that you got from it, but what is the thing you were avoiding? What were you avoiding by not that I really care and want to like delve into your personal life. That's not it at all. But I want you to understand some of the things that you do to avoid pain, because in our brain, we're always making the rationale that we're actually doing it to do something more fun, or we're actually seeking pleasure. But in reality, we are not. We're always avoiding pain, right? So in the cold hard light of day, the next thing you will do is ask yourself these questions. And this is mainly around fitness, right? First is, if you're interested in starting a fitness regimen or becoming fit before 2023, you understand that there's going to be a level of discomfort with that. I'm not asking you to do the flotation in the float tank. I'm asking you to actually move your body for 150 minutes a week. So what pain are you trying to avoid? Really, really, what pain are you trying to avoid by entering into a fitness program? And for some people, it might be a disease. They don't want to have disease. For some people, it might be maybe they gained a whole bunch of weight in an unhealthy way and it was uncomfortable. They're like, I'm trying to avoid that. Know what pain you're trying to avoid, first of all, and go as long-term as you need to. I've shared this story before, but there was someone in my family, my paternal grandmother, very hypokinetic, not very healthy. And her death was something, she was younger. She had an aneurysm and my cousin found her, and it was really traumatic at the time to even think about it. And I don't think I've ever even talked to my cousin about it. I don't even know. I don't think we've talked again. Like there's a whole thing around it, right? Like in my family. And that is a pain that I really want to avoid. I really want to avoid that. But sometimes it doesn't feel close enough. It feels so distant from me, right? So in the cold, hard light of day, what pain are you really trying to avoid? And then when it feels kind of distant, the next question you're going to ask yourself is what pain derails you? So you know what you really want to avoid, and it doesn't matter how far away it is. It doesn't matter. We need to know what it is and highlight it in our mind to bring it closer. And then know what pain derails us so that when we're getting closer and closer to the place of being derailed, we are very aware that it's trying to derail us from this other thing. So for example, I know this is getting like a little convoluted. For example, the pain that I really want to avoid is dying young, traumatically, and being so unhealthy that I bring it on myself, right? That's the pain I want to avoid. Notice I didn't say all this pleasurable, rah-rah, sis, boom, bah stuff. I really got into the pain. That would be really crappy. What pain derails me? Sometimes I stay up too late watching Netflix and I don't go to bed on time. And it's really hard to get up in the morning. And do you see what I've done here? I'm like, the pain of getting up is too hard. The pain of getting up is too hard. The pain really of missing that Netflix show, that pain is way more important. That Netflix show is way more important than not dying young. So you see what that has done, right? Do you see what this has done? Because when I say that, it sounds absolutely bananas. It's just bonkers. Like who would you rather like lose 5 years of your life or watch the Netflix show? I don't think I meant or. Lose 5 years of your life and watch the Netflix show, or go to bed early and get 5 years of your life. Like, okay, I'll go to bed early. Not a hard thing. But do you see how close the pain is of not watching Netflix? It was so close to me that I chose that one versus getting up and working out. So you want to do this kind of, in the world of life coaching, we call it self-coaching. And these are the kinds of questions that, I work with my clients on. We really help identify this stuff. And we bring it out into the broad light of day so that we realize how ridiculous it is. And it helps us then next time it happens go, oh yeah, remember that time I played that little game with myself? And it helps us focus in on avoiding the bigger pain by getting up and working out in the morning. So then once you have that constant and you've gone through questions, then you connect, you anchor all of that to your future. And this is when the actual anchor person comes into place. They can represent that pain avoidance, right? Like plugging into that anchor, the tools, the program, all the stuff that we've talked about today, that is our connection to the brighter future, the connection to the pleasure, so that we are going to avoid the big pain. Isn't that cool? Like people really shy away from this because it can feel tough to hear. But when you open it all up and you really dive down deep, it's very exciting. It is very exciting. And I want to share with you right now a quote from Shonda Rhimes that is just, it kind of encompasses this idea of, avoiding pain really well. And if you have my planner, it's on day 15. No, it's on day 12 maybe. But it's one of the planner quotes, which there's a different quote every single day. Dreams are lovely, but they're just dreams. Fleeting, ephemeral, pretty. But dreams do not come true just because you dream them. It's hard work that makes things happen, and it's hard work that creates change. So I think, and come against this if you want, some coaches even spend way too much time on dreaming. And I spend time with my clients on dreaming. Oh my gosh, I want to know their visions. I want to know what they want to do. I want to know how they want to get there. I want to see it. But I make sure to ask them the questions around their pain. Because if I don't ask questions around the pain, then they're going to shirk the hard work. They're not going to do the hard work. And they're going to go, I have faith. I have dreams. I have, however they put it. Like as a Christian, I'm confronted with the idea of faith and works combined. And this is, another way to put it is you have this idea of faith and dreaming and believing. And then you've got to back it up with the hard work. You've got to back it up by stepping into that future pain and knowing that you really don't want that. So let's review our 5 steps really quick. And then I have a couple other things for you before we wrap up. And if you have any questions right now, it's the time to start asking them, and I would love to give you answers if you're here live. So the steps are setting yourself up for success, knowing your stuff, dedicating your space, finding your anchor, and then getting to know your pain. Whew. So now that we've done that, I'd love to ask you a question too, and I'd love to hear your answers if you're here live, or not, it's fine, is what are you doing to have an anchor past your pain? What anchor do you have set up? What do you have in place? Anything? I know that for me, I have people in my life. I do have a coach. I have a life coach, so someone who mainly helps me with my business and life in general. And then I also have a mentor in the fitness industry. She's been my mentor for years and years and years. She has never steered me wrong. By the way, her name is Dayon. If you guys know who she is, some people may know her. She's the queen of all fitness, and I don't think she often gets the recognition that she deserves, but she's absolutely my huge mentor. I have a mentor in my faith walk. I have a mentor in my professor side of myself. So there's so many different anchors that I have in my life. And I will say this too, most of the time, they're things that I'm paying for, not all the time. Like my fitness mentor, she and we chat on a semi-regular basis. But like my life coach, who I have a scheduled meeting with every week, paid, business group actually that I'm in that has a mastermind, paid for that as well. And it helps me stay committed. Just like that just helps me stay committed. And I do want to show you guys something that I'm doing right now this month to help you get an anchor for not very much money, to be honest, and way less money than normal, is I'm offering my Body Freedom Fitness Studio membership. So this is a membership that is paid monthly. And what you get is you get access to all of my on-demand fitness, as well as one live class a month. A week. So you get that live opportunity every week. It's not the same as coaching, but we are on a Zoom. So if you pop on live at the end, I'm there to ask a question. You also automatically get into the VIP membership the VIP ticket to my quarterly fitness programs. So every time I release a brand new program, you're going to get them both live and the replay automatically. You don't have to pay any extra money for that. And then those are housed after the fact when everything is done with that program, no more replays. That is housed within the Body Freedom Fitness Studio. So you have all of that ready to go right there. And if you're looking at the screen, you've got a QR code if you want to scan it, but you can also type in GretchenGag.com/Body Freedom Fitness. And if you're on the podcast right now, I will have that in the podcast description. Now, if you are looking at the screen live, I want to show you something really quick. Maybe if it will let me. Here we go. I do want to show you in the Body Freedom Fitness Studio. So I apologize. This isn't going to make a whole lot of sense if you're just listening to the audio. We will try to get this edited out. But you can sign up right here. It's only $17 a month right now. And it's going to bump back up to $25 a month in December. So if you want this at all, I would get it now. You also get a 7-day free trial. I would just go ahead and start it now, because even if you start the free trial now, it'll flip over to $17 a month after the 7 days. You get that for free. And let me show you some of what you get with that. So actually, you can totally listen in on this. Right now, our live workouts are at 5:30 a.m. Central. That's going to switch to 6 a.m. Central. You're welcome. It's just been kind of hard to get everyone there on at 5:30. And all you have to do is get into the Body Freedom Fitness Studio, log in and click to join. And that's completely live, but you also get sent the replay. So if for some reason you don't make it, you'll get sent the replay every week. Or if say you're in Pacific time and you don't want to get up at 4 a.m., understandable, you'll get the replay. I do have some people in Pacific time in the program. You can also go right in and start any of the workout programs. So there's stretch and strength, which are 10 total body workouts that do have dumbbells. Body Freedom Boot Camp is body weight only. It has tons of chair options. And then of course, workouts for kids. That's a program that you can do with your kids as well. And then we have a huge on-demand library. So these would be things that you click and do one of. So like there's a foam rolling tutorial, 10-minute core series. This was developed as part of the Mom Bod Masterclass, like after having kids. For example, there's HIIT, flow, there's prenatal classes. Y'all, I just have to say, if you're not here live, you can't see the picture, but I love this picture because I thought like I looked so put together. If you look really close at this part, I'm circling it on the screen, totally my underwear hanging out the whole time. And I couldn't see it because my belly was so massive. So that's fun. Anyway, there's yoga box, yoga bar, resistance band workouts, 5-minute quick starts. There's also options if you're interested in virtual personal training. You can get that no matter what. So that's what's happening inside the Body Freedom Fitness Studio right now. So again, you can get it right now for $17, and it is going to bump up in December. And the URL for that again is gretchengag.com/Body Freedom Fitness. And then if you have any questions, and especially if something else interests you. So for example, maybe you're not really looking to get fitness classes, but you need more of one-on-one life coaching, or you want to be a part of the annual Lifer program that gets the beach retreat. And that's kind of my higher end coaching, where you get a little bit more with it. It gets a little bit, you get like a whole welcome kit, all this stuff. If you're interested in anything like that, just email me, Gretchen@gretchengag.com. And I would love to help you find what's the best fit for you. So you can even come to me and be like, here's where I am. Here's where I want to go. Which one do you think would work the best for me? That being said, I think I don't see any questions coming in. I see a couple like happy smiley faces, and oh, thank you so much. Love all the things you offer. That's so great. It really helps in so many ways. Very, very nice. You guys are amazing. Thanks for being here. Again, this is our monthly Lunch and Learn. So make sure you stay wherever you found out about me. Make sure you go there again so that you know when the Lunch and Learn is coming up. And I would love to see you again. And we will be back in December. We're not taking a month off. We're going to keep going. And that's actually, we'll have our next fitness program, which is live as well. If you visit the events page, we'll have our next full program going starting, I believe, week after next. I think it's the week after Thanksgiving. It's definitely not Thanksgiving week. I didn't do that to myself. But yeah, there you go. All right, friends, have a wonderful week. And yes, November 27th is when it starts. Thank you, Jackie, for being on top of my own schedule. So November 27th is when the next workout program starts. And by the way, that one has, I did want to mention this, that one has like options for sliders and resistance bands and a mini ball, because it's like the next level, really upgrading your fitness. And we're going to reach all those micro fitness components in there. And it has an option to buy a ticket where I will actually send you the stuff, but you need to get in there and do that because I need to have time to send it to your house. And there's like a level where you don't get replays, a level where you get replays, and then the level where you get all the equipment and the replays. But you can get just the workouts themselves live for free. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.